Hello, everyone. Welcome back to
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to
Between Shelf and Screen.
Between Shelf and Screen.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Alex.
Okay. This is Between Shelf and Screen. We're talking about Emma. Again.
Yes. For a second, I was like, because that's exactly, we just said Emma, not like the Emma book last episode. And so I got confused. I was like, we just talked about that. Anyways.
Oh, movie time.
Emma, the movie, specifically the 2020 one? I don't know. There's two, apparently. I saw that when I was looking it up.
Is that 2020?
The
newest one?
Yeah, newest one. There was one like in 2011 or something.
Oh, yeah.
2007.
Well, I'm glad we watched this one because...
yeah, that was the plan because of our favorite actress.
Mm-hmm.
So what's Anya?
Yes.
What's her name?
I know it's Anya. I can't remember her last one.
I can never remember
But
her last name.
she is beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, that's the movie we're talking about to clarify. And let's get into it. What did you think?
I liked it.
Was it proper?
It was very proper.
Was it posh?
Very proper and very posh. No, it was really good, and I was pleasantly surprised.
It was so good. I actually love it.
Yeah.
Like 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The humor, all of it was good.
It was very light and happy too.
Yeah, and the cinematography, the colors of it was so bright.
Yeah, the director really outdid herself.
Mhm.
Like she did awesome with that.
Yeah.
I looked it up because I was like, it really reminded me of Wes Anderson.
I know that's what
I looked
was
it up because I was
thinking.
like, is this Wes Anderson? Because this is up his alley.
Mhm.
But it's not.
Yeah, no.
But she
I
did
feel
really,
like
really
it has
good.
to take inspiration. But it was still its own thing. Like I thought of Wes
Absolutely.
Anderson, but it's not exactly. Thought it was beautiful, and all the actresses and actors were so good. Anya killed it.
She always does. She hasn't had a role where she hasn't crushed.
Emma was so funny, like the pauses it would take and the facial expressions without actually making a joke. Oh my god, I'm surprised how much I was actually laughing
Yeah.
at it. And I don't know, this was a lot better than I was expecting. Even though I still was excited.
This story definitely works in the movie medium way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Or I'm just so stupid.
No, I stand by it because like I was saying in the last one, I think I kind of called it out. Like the way she writes, or at least Jane Austen, the way she wrote this book is like long paragraphs of speech. And then you get a little bit of insight into Emma's mind and then on to the next monologue.
Yeah.
And it's just exhausting. But with this, in this form, the monologues aren't exhausting because there's a lot going on. In the scene around you, you can see all the different characters, their reactions, their body language, which is oftentimes really funny.
The body language was the best, and I think that's mostly what was lacking out of the book.
Yeah, you were not getting any hints of what was going on really. And the romance in this was set up astronomically better than the book.
It makes sense. Either I missed something gravely in the book and it just went right over my head, which
I don't think we did.
Right, because the both of us are experiencing the same thing, so I would think that one of us would have been like, no. But in the movie, they made it make a lot more sense of how it played out.
And it was well done.
Yeah.
Believable.
Well, what do you think about accuracy-wise?
They did make some changes, I feel like.
I don't know. I felt like it cut out a lot of fat because it had
That's
to.
exactly. They made a lot of changes. And, I feel like the seeds for Emma and Mr. Knightley were set, way, way in the beginning. And you kind of saw them, fall in love.
I don't think I agree with that. I thought it played out exactly how the book
I mean, it did.
But I kind
of... It did, but, like I said, like, they did a lot more with the body language. And they did a lot more with, like, the subtleties of, like, how they interacted with the dialogue within each other. Like, you could tell that there was some sort of attraction there. As in with the book, all you got is the monologue. So you're just like, wow, they just sound like they're kind of annoyed with each other.
I can see what you mean. I mean, the body language helped kind of determine their relationship, but I thought there was more of a change with not Jane. What was her name? Harriet.
Harriet, yeah.
I thought there was more of a change with that in the end part, which I guess they
added a lot more as far as like with the romance with Mr. Martin. By the way, that guy that acted as Mr. Martin, he's in Sex Education. They have a lot of actors from that show.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Like Mrs. Elton is from Sex Education as well.
Oh, that's funny.
I was noticing that. I was like, oh, and like Mr. Martin gets 0 lines.
Yeah, which sucks, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, 0 lines, but like, which sucks because that actor, like, he's good.
Yeah, I just thought it was like, I mean, it stayed true to the book, and I thought that was so funny.
It did, yeah.
I was not, or I didn't realize until the very end what they were doing with this character. And I was like, yes, but. Yeah, I thought that's the only thing I noticed, like the big change, because they just had to like speed everything up. But other than that, like it took lines directly out of the book.
It did.
Everything felt like it.
Yeah, it felt like as far as accuracy, yes. Mm-hmm. It just felt like all my gripes that I had with the book, they remedied in the movie. Is what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And like all the. Like, the dialogue didn't seem as exhausting unless it was Mrs. Bates, and, like, that was for good reason.
Right, kind of purposeful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
And I actually felt bad when Emma, like, made fun of her.
Yeah, I mean, do I think it's worth making fun of? No. But I also get it.
No, yeah. Like, I remember in the book, like, when she did that scene, I was just like, yes!
Yeah.
But like in the movie, it was like, oh wow, like I loved the awkward shift in demeanor and how they were all so unconfrontational.
I know.
That it just got super awkward, and it just slowly filed out of the scene. Like,
I hope that's actually how it went. Like that. Yeah. That's what would just happen because no one would want to start something. They're too proper.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. And so, oh my gosh, I thought that was just so funny.
And I thought, like, when you were saying like, oh, Jane Fairfax is just so dull, she was that way in the movie too. Except when she was doing something like I liked
better than Emma.
Yeah.
Make Emma back.
Yeah.
Like the piano scene.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And it was so like Jane just trying to show off.
Yeah.
I loved the rivalry, but it went on for way too long in the book. Like, yes. It was a perfect amount in the movie.
Yes, everything just felt a lot like more condensed, kind of fat, and just improved.
Yeah.
And I would say 100%. With 100% certainty, Jesus Christ, that you don't have to read the book for this one. You probably could just watch that movie and have a way better time.
I agree. I suggest this movie to everyone. This is so good. Like, everyone needs to see this.
Yeah, even if you don't like what's going on in the movie, like if you're not invested, just pretty colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
The art's beautiful. The clothing, like, everything was specifically thought out, and I love seeing that. Like, yes. The budget had to be huge.
Oh yeah,
it paid off.
I loved the scenery that they were walking around into. Like
houses.
That's also one of my gripes that I had with the book. I was just like, there's no, like, it's not describing the scenery and everything, so I could like picture it better. Like with the movie, you get all of that.
It barely even described the outfits.
Yeah.
Which, like, I miss our man Bateman.
Yeah, because he would do it so well.
He would consistently do it. I never had to ask myself, what were they wearing?
Oh, he's wearing an Armani tailored suit with a covered lapel.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I didn't get that from Emma, so I'm glad the movie paid off.
Yeah, it did, and I'm happy.
Beautiful.
And I was like putting off watching it because I was just like, oh, I'm like, I
I
swear
know,
to God,
I was so mad at you because
Yeah.
you kept being like, after I would ask you like, have you seen it? You're like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
I'll get to it. And I was like, no, you gotta watch it now. I'm not gonna tell you what
Yeah,
I think.
and I was really happy when I remember my mom walked by while watching it, like while I was watching it at one point, and she was just like, well, "This seems very nice," because she's usually just like I'm usually watching like Game of Thrones, where it's either like a sex scene or somebody getting brutally murdered. Like she's like, "Well, this seems really nice and cheerful," and it is.
That's so funny. Yeah, and I loved the scenes where like something would happen, like the draft. Like the dad would notice a draft, and then they just stop and then run and then start freaking out. Like after the dinner when they thought it was gonna snow, or
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
that was so funny because it's immediately like not stuck up. Like they're not holding this like persona.
Yeah,
and,
like not posh, but everybody just starts panicking.
yeah, and it's so funny. God, the directing, like I would say a genius. Like to be able to pull that off and it to actually work to make the audience laugh, like takes a lot of skill. It doesn't seem like it, but people just don't do it like that.
Yeah,
anymore.
you gotta like I feel like directors gotta
timing.
I feel like directors gotta like bond with the actors a little bit to get to like understand them and see like give them direction.
Yeah.
But
and get them to also work with each other.
Yeah.
Because, you might have a few actors that can do that naturally, and so it's really the actors that are doing it. But, like, to get the director to get the people that struggle with it in the beginning to feel more comfortable so it looks more natural and is amusing, not just awkward because they're all, like, panicking, and it's like, this is dumb. You guys look dumb doing this. It's clearly staged. Like...
Yeah, like I guess the way that she described it in the book, Highbury, just seemed like a very posh sort of rich town that like I was just like it doesn't even sound like it's a pretty place to go. So like why would I like you're not making this sound appealing,
right?
But then like seeing it the way it was, just like the beautiful scenery, like the nice meadows. And then like the big apple trees and whatnot, like it was just like the colors were popping everywhere, and their clothes looked really good, and I was just like, wow, this actually looks like a place I would want to visit at a time I want to visit.
Yeah.
But the book really didn't emphasize that.
Right. It really didn't talk about anything except Emma and Emma's direct
thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, Emma's thoughts and Emma's direct like people that she was talking to.
Yes, exactly. And, okay, I want to talk about this for a second. What about that brief bit of nudity at the beginning? You see Mr. Knightley's butt, and then it's at the very beginning.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it's like...
What was he doing?
He's just, like, his servants were dressing him. And then you just get a butt shot of Mr. Knightley.
Don't I remember that?
Dude,
I'm so mad at myself.
It felt so out of place. I was like,
that's really funny.
I was just like, wait, what is this movie rated? Because, like, they don't curse, like, even once.
Right.
In it. Like, this could just be a G-rated film. But then there's just that one ass shot of Mr. Knightley.
They wanted
bare
to make
butt.
sure.
And I was like, what?
Maybe because it's like they want to get the correct audience, and kids are not going to enjoy this, even though it's...
Yeah, they probably won't enjoy this.
It's perfectly fine for a kid to watch it, besides that one scene.
That's not even that bad. Though.
It's really not. I mean, depending on what you view as bad. I wouldn't really care.
Yeah.
But, like, everything else would be fine for them to watch, but they're not going to enjoy it. Like,
yeah.
It's
That's
because
true.
it's not funny to them. They don't. None of the humor is like told to you what you're supposed to laugh at.
Yeah, no.
So.
It's.
They wanted to make sure that they got the right audience at the beginning.
Like put in this perspective and put in this interpretation or adaptation, more like. It just feels like a rom-com, like the very first one ever.
The first one. That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, Jane Austen's known for being the one romance author. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. But like, wow,
what else was before her? The
no,
Bible?
I knew she was supposed to be like a great romance writer, and I was like pumped to get like a good like romance story because it when done right, romance is a fun genre.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I was so disappointed in this book because like, first off, like you have the main character who just does not want to marry, and she stays pretty consistent to that up until the very end, and then she just magically falls in love. But then with the movie, it's a lot more fun because it gives you seeds of it going throughout.
That's true. I know Jane Austen's known for that, but I think Emma's the one book where it's like that's not the main thing. Like I think it's technically, or Emma itself is known as a comedy.
Yeah.
So, but I think I misled you because I was also like, because I knew there was a romance in Emma, and I thought it would have played a bigger part.
Well, yeah.
And I think that's what I told you instead of the fact that, but it's like not actually a romance.
Yeah, but it wasn't a comedy. But I feel like also the movie made me realize that like the romance between Mr. Knightley and Emma kind of like works along with her character arc because she's becoming a better person throughout it.
Yeah. And
then I thought that like, in the book you were gonna see her maybe get open to being like, oh, you know what, maybe I will marry. Like maybe she would change. But then in the movie, it feels like, I don't know, it just makes a lot more sense. Like Mr. Knightley is critical of her because he cares about her and wants her to not be so stuck up.
Yeah.
And she slowly figures it out in the movie while the romance is happening at the same time. So you can see kind of the change in her through the romance.
I think they actually did change a few of his lines, like especially with the first confrontation.
About Harriet?
I think they added more for him to be like, to seem or come across a little bit
more likable, yeah.
Yeah, because in the book, he kind of just like abruptly.
Yeah, well, he just like kind of poops on Harriet.
And then it ends. And
then talks up Mr. Martin. He's like, he's the man, like. Which, like, isn't in its own way kind of funny to think about because it's just like, a man's man and a girl's girl just like butting heads about a match, which is like kind of funny to think about. But like the book, it really wasn't funny. It was just kind of, it seemed very serious. The whole tone in the book just felt a lot more serious.
I don't think the comedy came through. Maybe it's just a us thing, but I could not pick up on any parts that were supposed to be funny except like the first 60 pages. But yeah, once her and Mr. Knightley like had that fight, I was like, okay, hold on, this is a lot more like, because it also felt like, I don't know, I thought they were both in the wrong after that fight. Like they just seemed like they sucked. Yeah. And then that's when it just didn't make sense anymore, and I didn't feel like I should be laughing. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it didn't carry, and maybe it's just a translated thing over time with English changing.
And Harriet, like, yeah, no, exactly. And Harriet, like, her, like, in the book, I was, like, rooting for her because I thought she would, like, it still is like this in the movie, but I thought Emma was just taking advantage of her and manipulating her, and then Harriet was just kind of oblivious to it throughout. But then, like, in the movie, you see, like, it felt a lot more like Emma was genuinely trying to help Harriet.
Really?
That's what I felt like.
I didn't think so. I thought that it came across worse because of the facial expressions and body language that she had towards Harriet. It felt like she really didn't care unless Harriet was listening to her. And so, like, it came across like she was the worst. Until, like, then she started getting better and better. But, like...
Maybe, yeah. It felt like...
The scene, I think, specifically that...
Like, she was... Okay, I want to clarify. She was still manipulating her.
Right.
But it didn't feel like Emma really realized that that she even thought that maybe this could be bad. She just was genuinely trying to do what she thought was best for Harriet.
I thought it was worse in the movie, or Emma... could tell more in the movie, specifically because of the scene that they added where Harriet ran into Mr. Martin while he was like on the farm, and Emma makes a face and actively like chooses to ignore what Harriet's saying. Then Harriet goes over to talk to him, and she keeps walking, stops, so then her back is to him, and then like won't acknowledge anything about him when Harriet is saying like, oh my gosh, isn't he like so handsome and all that, and she just doesn't say anything.
She's consistently awful to Mr. Martin.
But it
in
seemed
the book
like that
and
was
the movie.
Right, but that like seemed a lot more like she was doing it on purpose and not. Well, that wasn't a scene in the book, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
But like other scenes, it just seemed like she just was like, oh, I just really like Mr. Elton, not that she disliked Mr. Martin, and that's how I felt like she was in the.
Well, I mean, in the book, she said multiple times, and I don't know, she might have said this in the movie once, but I can't remember it. Like, she said multiple times, like, oh, he's like poor. He's like poor.
She definitely did
Mr.
say it
Elton,
in the movie.
Oh yeah, and like Mr. Elton's so much more rich, but
yeah,
and
she
like
did because Jane Austen repeated herself a lot.
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I guess we just interpreted both differently.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is fine.
Emma felt a lot more likable in the movie.
Yeah.
At least that's...
I think her character arc made sense. So, like, I think she was worse in the beginning than she was in the book, but then better at the end
yes.
than she was in the book. So
yeah. What about that scene with the random nosebleed?
First of all, do you want to get into spoilers?
I mean, we've already kind of got into them.
That's true. I think we were vague on some of the stuff that happened at the end, but it's also Emma. This has been...
Yeah, it's been out.
People know...
Spoiler not needed. Spoiler warning not needed at all.
It's just like, if you are willing to read Emma, you probably also have already read Emma.
Yeah.
But what were you about to say? You were going to go into... one of the scenes towards the end with a nosebleed. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, we mentioned
we took a break.
Yeah, what was that random nosebleed?
I didn't get that either. That was a bit confusing.
Yeah, that
it
was.
made me a little taken out of the scene because I was like, why would this happen? Did
she mention that in the book?
No, that was definitely not in the book. I don't know. Maybe it was.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like
a little
it might
too
have
confident. I feel like I would have remembered that because that's just weird. Like, okay, it's not that weird, but it was a little weird.
Yeah, it was kind of funny that like them fumbling, like try to clean it off and still talk. But
that's true. It felt very natural, the chemistry.
Yeah, no, those actors did have some chemistry.
Yeah. Are they dating? Are they married?
Must be.
Must be.
Dude, like... when I watched this, this is just a sidebar, I couldn't help but think, like, man, the male drip in the early 1800s, terrible. I did not like it.
Oh my gosh, the collar.
Yeah, the collars looked ridiculous. And just, like, the pants.
It was bad.
The pants are like leggings. I didn't like it.
It was not appealing.
Not appealing at all.
The dresses, I wish.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, they were... extravagant, a little much, but like
I love it.
It was cool.
I wish I could. No, they probably were so hot all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why women get colder easier as compared to men, because like we built up like natural selection.
Oh yeah.
The ones that got hot super easily died off in those dresses.
It's true. Don't look it up.
That's how it happened, because we had to wear so many layers.
Facts.
Yeah.
And then when you take them all off, girls are just like, it's cold.
That's a good girl representation.
Nigga.
It's like you could like play one.
I've actually met a few girls.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Your first-hand experience.
Yep. Maybe like.
I could kind of tell.
Probably like 3.
That's impressive. No, I
2.
could. Oh, okay. That makes a little bit more sense because you
1.
weren't really selling it. What are you counting down to? What's going to happen
0.
at 0? Okay, bye, guys.
We're done
that
here.
Was the end.
I'm gonna unplug this.
No. Don't unplug my computer.
I won't do that. But what were we getting at?
We were just talking about nosebleeds and bloods and probably periods.
Yeah.
That's the next step. You get a nosebleed. And...
Yeah, let's talk about the menstrual cycle. Come on, guys.
They used to have to wear rags before, like...
Are you being... Okay.
Yeah, because sanitary products were a thing.
Oh, I want to say... Yeah, it probably wasn't at this time. But I know, like, it wasn't...
You know someone?
It was invented, like...
I was like the 19...
No, honestly, yeah, it was probably like 1940-ish. 1930, 1940.
Yeah, I think it was 1930s or 40s or 50s.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Not my problem.
Yeah. Oh, well.
No, it's just like, just another layer.
Yeah.
That sucks. I feel for all those women.
Yeah. You know, I had a random thought come up in this movie, too. I was just like, man, I was like, so they don't have toilets. So, like, how does that work? Chamber pots?
Imagine with all those layers, like the big...
Yeah,
dresses.
like, well, how do you do it?
You get someone to go under. That's why women also naturally go to the bathroom with multiple women, because that's how it was in the previous days, because they had to get someone to climb under the dress.
Okay, like, that sounds like you're being for real right now. Like, that sounds believable.
They still have to do this. That's why at prom you'll never see, or any other big event, that women are wearing dresses.
You're like, all right, Shelby, I have to go poop. And then they're like...
Exactly. That's exactly how it goes.
I don't know why I said Shelby.
Shelby.
I was just like, well, white girl name. No.
Have you ever even met a Shelby?
Yes.
That's one of the 3 women you've met?
No, I lied. I'm trying to think of more things that I really wanted to mention, because there was a good bit in this movie. I was like, I want to mention this.
Mr. Ellen sucked. We haven't really talked about him.
Oh,
sucked
yeah.
just as much as the book.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the carriage or the scene in the car. First of all, I don't remember him getting out. Like, didn't they sit in the car in silence until they got to their destination in the book?
I think so, yeah.
And then in the movie, he just steps out and walks, which I think was a good addition, because that was hilarious.
Yeah.
When he just, like, gets out of the cart, or the, whatever it's called, and then just starts, the carriage, and starts walking alongside it, because he just doesn't want to be in the carriage with her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's a whole nother funny layer. And, like, I don't know. I think with Mr. Elton in particular, like, it made it much more apparent in the movie that he is unlikable.
And I think...
Like, he did suck in the book, but, like, in the movie, I was just like, oh, yeah, this guy's kind of a...
I think they made it more obvious that he liked...
Yes.
Emma from the beginning. Well, in the
also,
I never saw that coming.
In that scene where they're doing the painting...
Drawing,
like, it's a lot better to see. Mm-hmm. Because, like, when you're reading it, it just sounds like they're talking about the artwork.
Right, that's true, yeah. And also, I think this was kind of in the book, but not as harshly. But he, like, fully goes in on, like, how Emma made her more beautiful than she actually is. And that she's not, like, that Harriet actually is.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, how did Emma ever think that Elton liked Harriet in the movie? Because he fully went in on her. And, yeah, so that was easier to tell that he liked Emma and not Harriet.
Yeah.
While in the book, I genuinely didn't see that coming.
Yeah, and Harriet in the movie, too. Like, she was funny because, like, she was just so oblivious. Mm-hmm. And then the whole dynamic between Emma thinking she was into Mr. Churchill because he carried her. But then, like, she was actually into Mr. Knightley because they had, like, 1 second of, like, eye contact. And then she's like, he's the one. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's where I kind of felt for Emma, too. It's like, how did she...
Right. Where did that even come from?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it made... Or I liked seeing at the end where she went in and told Emma that Mr. Martin had proposed again in person, and she said yes. Like, she didn't have to confront Emma about it, and she was actually confident telling Emma this, like, we are getting married. And I think it kind of did that in the book, but it just went right over my head or something. I don't know.
I feel like she explained it. The scene didn't happen. She just explained it happening.
Yeah. So it was a lot better seeing that, because I was like, yes, Harriet, I'm so glad you're, like, detaching from Emma.
Yeah.
And then Emma's also, like, happy for her, glad that this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then you get, like, one scene where Mr. Martin, like, kisses Harriet, which was, like, a nice addition, because it's just like, so like you could actually see that, like, they had, like, sort of, like, chemistry.
Yeah, and there were a few scenes in the distance of them, like, talking and whatever, and, like, the store scene, like.
Yeah.
There were scenes with him in it. He just didn't say anything, like in the book. Oh my god. And, gosh, Jane Austen had to have done that purposely.
Yeah.
Which is funny to me, because I didn't pick up on that really in the book. I knew that, like, he just wasn't really around. But it's funny to think about now that I saw it in the movie, that she was like, oh yeah, he's, like, not even worth talking about. Like, Emma, this is kind of going through Emma's, mind. I mean, it's in third person, but it's revolving around Emma. It's literally called Emma.
Yeah.
And Emma just doesn't care enough about Mr. Martin, so he's never mentioned besides when Harriet brings him up.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, I thought that was funny. What other scenes are there?
I mean,
do you even remember a scene? Did you watch this?
There's not a single other scene.
We've mentioned every single one. You don't even have to watch the movie now.
When Mr. Eldon, like, blatantly denies, like, Harriet a dance, that was really, like, that's just the cherry on top. Like, you didn't need any more reasons to dislike him, and then boom.
You're right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then didn't Mr. Knightley, like, dance with her?
Yeah.
So it kind of makes a little more sense.
Yeah, they're like, she's like, he's the one.
Yeah. Aww.
Poor Harriet.
I liked the additions of, like, her with the other girls, like, her age, like, just doing funny things. Like, they were playing the sand game, and then they shoved her face in the sand. Like, those scenes were so fun, because you could tell that Harriet's a lot younger and, like, immature, and grew up in a place where she could actually have fun instead of just being proper and pristine like Emma. Yeah. You could see the dynamic better than in the book. Like, I thought she was older. Just so, like, obviously I knew she wasn't accustomed to their world and lifestyle. Like, I could tell that much. But I thought Harriet was older. Because, like, I also thought since she's getting married, she'd be older. But, you know, that didn't really matter back then.
Yeah, they're just
kind of forgot that part.
She's 13? Cool.
So, kind of forgot
gross.
That part. Yeah. But, so, like, she just seemed shy, really, is what I thought of Harriet.
Yeah.
In the book. That's not really how I saw her in the movie.
She was much more dependent off of, like, whatever Emma was
anything
doing.
Emma. And, like, it felt like she didn't have anything else to say. And they still show that in the movie when she was around Emma, but she also had her own personality.
Yeah, you could see she was, like, uncertain.
She
was just like, oh, God, like, I don't know what to do here.
Mm-hmm. Like, when she was around Emma, you could tell that Emma and them were a little toxic for each other at the beginning.
Yeah.
But you could see separate, she had her own personality. Was hanging with these girls, having fun. So, yeah, I really like the relationship between all, like, the women just having fun. The girls having fun.
The girls doing girly things.
The girls girling.
Girls girling off.
So, yeah, I like those additions. I feel like, I guess it was a little bit different. Like, it just added a few scenes to put in more context of the characters, which I think was the part that was lacking, is Emma had way too many characters and not enough personality to differentiate them.
Yeah.
And make them, like, their own person besides just what they were useful for. So.
Yeah.
I like what the director did with them.
Definitely. I think it's just a more fun experience overall, the movie, and I recommend this over the book, which is one of like 3 at this point.
Yeah, what we said for The Road.
Yes.
American Psycho. Emma.
Oh, did we? For American Psycho?
Yeah, we said that we don't recommend the book, but we do at the same. Like we both enjoyed it, but it's not the best read.
Right. Yeah. It was just rough. Like it's not a fun experience.
And you get the same thing from the movie.
Yeah. True.
So. And technically, well, Haunting of Hill House. That was like 2 different stories.
No, yeah, that's the other one I was thinking of. But yeah, like I just love that show so much. But they're so. I think I said like I love them both so much. I prefer the show, but I will never say it's a faithful adaptation.
Their own thing, so it's hard to be like you should watch the movie over this because it's like the movie only takes the idea and the tone and then makes it into a whole new thing.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Next we need to, like, someone reads the book, explains it to the other person, and then someone reads the movie and then explains it back, and then we have to review it based off of that.
That would be fun. That actually would be a lot of fun.
That'd be fun, because then also one of us talking, and then you could get, like, the feel, or just, like, recommending
we could be like,
it.
oh, is this an adaptation, or is this a different movie?
That would be cool.
That'd be fun.
Okay. Wait. That would be a lot of fun.
Right?
Now we're just like going on a tangent of our own stuff.
Yeah. We're done with the review of Emma. We really liked the movie.
Yeah, bye.
Get out of here, you 4 viewers.
No, the movie was super good. I would suggest this to everyone, but most specifically people that love Wes Anderson films and just like any art in films. Like the director and just everything. Like
cinematography.
Set, cinematography, clothing. Like if you just love seeing appreciation of that kind of stuff and thought put into it, you'll love this movie, even if you don't care for the plot. If you like a good satirical British posh film.
Yeah.
And this is a good one.
I like that too.
Yeah.
No shade at it.
Yeah. So
British humor's funny.
It is.
I love British humor.
British people can be considered people.
All right, you're getting a little bit no.
A little too extreme.
That's a little bit too crazy. No, we love our Brits. God forbid a British person watches this.
I know the accent.
Yeah. It's pretty spot on.
It's embarrassing. We're embarrassing ourselves. And I do the same thing.
It is not.
That one was especially bad.
No.
That one was suspicious.
No.
No.
No, that's Australian.
Yeah.
No.
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 Okay, we're so embarrassing.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, thank God no one stayed to listen to this, so I can just end it.
Yeah.
Right?
Goodbye forever. Maybe see you. Maybe not.